From Bustleton to Broome, this is Spirit Drive with Matt Layton.
Do not walk away from your radio because we certainly have an icon on the line. Toni Childs is currently travelling right across the country on her retrospective tour. It'll make its way to Western Australia next week. It's an absolute pleasure, Toni. Welcome to Spirit Drive.
Aloha. Aloha.
30 years since your debut album Union burst onto the charts, and in 2019, I got to say, I hear your songs at least once a week, whether it's flicking on the radio or getting the groceries. It seems Australia still loves it to this day.
Well, it's pretty wonderful, you know. I hear it at my grocery store too. It's pretty cool. And now, you know, I'm a permanent resident in Australia, fully transplanted, so it's a very nice thing.
Now, were you surprised by how receptive Australia was in your early career?
Yeah, you know, you hope that your music is going to make it connect, right? And I really hope that it would connect internationally, and it did. Europe and, you know, just, I think, 50 countries around the world, that album just made a connection. But I was most surprised here in Australia, I guess because of the African elements in it were so prominent, and yet the feeling of that album really touched people.
Yeah. Well, not everyone enjoys longevity in the music industry. What has that meant to you?
You know, I had a 16-year-old ambition. I wanted really three things. One, that my music would be respected by my peers.
Yeah.
And that I would dare to sing and expose what is the most hardest to say in life. And third, that my music would stand the test of time. And I'm really happy to say that that's actually, I'm so grateful that all that became a reality.
Yeah, you can definitely tick those boxes off. Toni, talk us through the early years. What was life like while growing up and figuring out your sound?
Well, you know, I think I was raised in a fundamentalist Christian home, and we, you know, singing church music and stuff. But at 12 years old, I had a neighbor who basically found out that I hadn't been exposed to music. Yeah. And she was older than me, and she had an older boyfriend. So for 8 hours, they put record after record with headphones on my head, like Led Zeppelin and Jimi Hendrix and Janis Joplin and Humble Pie and what was it, Deep Purple, and all of this music, and it just blew my mind. And the Rolling Stones, and so all of a sudden the gateway kind of got opened, and I think that I was already, by the time I was 14, I had written a musical and 2 plays, and it wasn't until I had run away and I was living with these hippies took me in, and they were all artisans, and cobbler and a surfboard shaper and someone who did jewelry and things like that. And every Sunday they would have open mic. Well, there was a blues band. People would get up and jam on the blues. I didn't know any of those classic songs like Little Red Rooster and all that stuff, but I was a kid in coverall jeans, right? And wanting to get up there and just sing, and feeling sorry for me at the end of one of these things. They were like, okay, let's give her a shot. I didn't really know what I was going to do, and I just heard this one guy go, blues shuffle and A, and I thought, oh, I could do that. Yeah. And when I got that microphone, they were like, okay, so what tempo? What do you want to do? And I said, blues shuffle and A, here's the tempo, and then something took off inside of me. Yeah. And all the people who were talking and milling around, and it was kind of the end of the day, they were like, what? And they just went to the front of the makeshift stage and were laughing. And I was just cutting loose. And then I was like, at first I thought they were laughing at me, right? Like, oh, but they were laughing because they said, who the hell are you? Like an 80-year-old black woman. And for me, it was the best feeling in my body, but it was also really great because it was like, I really like this.
Multiple Grammy nominee and Emmy Award winner Toni Childs is on the line right now here on Spirit Drive ahead of her retrospective tour. Plenty of dates right across the West. She'll be back on the line after this. We are chatting with iconic singer-songwriter Toni Childs here on Spirit Drive. Then you burst onto the scene. You were riding a massive wave of success, and then in 1997 there was a bit of a roadblock because you were diagnosed with Graves' disease. Talk us through that moment in your life, and how did that affect you and your music moving forward?
It was, my eyes were bulging out of my head. It's a hyperthyroid condition where my resting heartbeat was 120 beats per minute.
Wow.
But the thing is that the doctor said it was what I did. They see it as a stress disorder, which is correct. But they saw it as what I did for a living. And so I had 3 doctors telling me, you need to stop what you're doing. It's too stressful for you. And I took the medication, and I guess taking the medication and feeling normalized, and then I'm thinking, well, maybe they know what they're talking about. It took me 2 years to dismantle my life, and I landed on the island of Kauai, Hawaii, to kind of retire to. But I ended up having a hair analysis, and that hair analysis revealed that I had mercury poisoning from my drinking water, and that I was allergic to. We did an allergen test, a blood allergen test, and I found out I was allergic to chlorine in drinking water, and also to sulfates in toothpaste and shampoos. So that cocktail created the symptoms of Graves' disease. And as soon as I knew that, I got it under control. During that time, I was still writing, but I really let go of music. But Eve Ensler, who wrote the Vagina Monologue, asked me to write a song for her documentary Until the Violence Stops. And I ended up writing a song called Because You're Beautiful. And that just reignited me. And I started touring again, right? I created an album, Keep the Faith. It wasn't how I normally made albums, and I knew it wasn't going to be the best or the greatest record, but it was going to be a start. And now it's All a Beautiful Noise, which comes out in 2020 next year. And Citizens of the Planet, it's already been recorded and mastered. That doesn't come out until 2025. I became an installation artist during this time. I started using new technology and mediums. I've got a lot of high-tech audience engagement in the new shows. So, like when you come to It's All a Beautiful Noise, which will tour regional Australia in 2021, you're given as an audience member, 1 of 6 masks will be given to you. And each mask has an addressable LED light that I control from the stage. In addition, underneath the mask is a URL, and I invite audience members to go on a treasure hunt online after the show. And they're asked at the end of that treasure hunt to send their masks to a physical location where all the masks in Australia are put into one giant public installation, making a big, beautiful noise for our pollinators. Because, like me,
that's really cool.
chemicals and other kinds of toxic elements, the environment has caused their immune system to crash.
Oh, well, that is certainly a fascinating listen there. As we move on to the retrospective tour, the first half of the show looks back and relives all your biggest hits, and then in the second half we hear your more recent music. You kicked this tour off in April in our eastern states, and how have the shows been doing?
Oh, fantastic. We have full houses, and where we really get our advertising, right, because it's really about getting the word out, right, making sure people know, because I had I sold over 1 million records here in Australia through the years, right? So I have a lot of fans, and so we've had full houses, sold out shows, and more than anything, it's like we're having a conversation, and I'm getting to meet friends. It's really where we have a common emotional thread. I guess we've kind of now, you can say we've grown up with each other.
Well, as we move toward a new decade as well, I'd like to know what's on your agenda into the 2020s and beyond. What are you hoping to tick off on your bucket list?
Well, first of all, is going swimming with whale sharks on this tour. That's one, and going to Monkey Mire.
Brilliant. Yeah.
But really, on the big, I'm giving an underwater concert for whales and dolphins. I've got a 360 museum installation where they're filming me. I'm working with Film Graphics. They'll do the top side, and BioQuest Films based out of Port Douglas will do the underwater photography. And I've already tested it out in 2017, in a bubble helmet singing underneath the water. And so we're doing this all to inspire people to really focus on doing the right thing for the Great Barrier Reef. And so everything that I'm doing now, I'm just wanting to be a spark of inspiration, and I'm just so glad that the music is drawing those those threads of inspiration.
What a life, hey? Well, it's certainly been an amazing journey, and it certainly ain't over yet. Toni is touring Western Australia from next week. Bunbury, Karratha and Port Hedland. She's definitely coming to see you. Sunday, May 19 at the Breck in Bunbury, then Friday, May 24th at Karratha's Red Earth Arts Precinct, then Saturday, May 25th at South Hedland's Matt Dan Theatre. Should mention exclusive VIP meet and greet packages are also available. Now, this opportunity includes a concert ticket within the first 5 rows, a Toni Childs tee, a digital copy of Toni Childs' Greatest Hits 2 CD set, plus a drink backstage after the concert. You can hang out with Toni as well. Special price of $150. Allocation of 10 per show, and this can be purchased on the website, tonichilds.com. Thank you so much, and all the best for the remaining shows, Toni.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
The legend, that is Toni Childs, here on Spirit Drive. Back soon.